Okay, what we have here is me building a bunker. And at first we digged a large hole behind my house and we made our forms. And we actually stuck angle iron every so many feet is what we did. Now I'm taking this video and shortening it right up because it was something like, I don't know, 30, 40 hours long. Some people had watched it in the old days when I had it up, but I've shortened this down to 15 minutes. How we got the concrete down in the hole? Well, as you see here, we used the skid steer, filled up the bucket, and then we poured it inside the forms that we just set up. Is what we did. And then in this video here, you'll see where we're actually pouring the floor itself. So we made a floating floor is what it's called. And we pulled the outside first, put the angle iron in, and then we put the floor in is what we did. Here is styrofoam blocks, you could call them. That's not the proper name, but you can find them online. They're about 2 pounds each. And they have plastic that inserts in between them, and you build each block like a Lego brick. And then you just kind of build up as you go and brace them is all you do. Lay some angle iron in between them and pour your concrete is all you're doing. And when the concrete's done hardening, you've got insulation on both sides. It actually kills a couple birds with one stone. That stuff was pretty expensive, but it was well worth it in the end. Here I had to order in a pump truck to actually pump the concrete from the land next door over to my house to get it into the walls. We had to do it slowly. If you did it too quick, it would blow a wall out, and then you'd have a mess. So it was kind of cool when they did all this. Now I was going to pour concrete ceiling, trying to figure out how I'm going to do that. And after watching a few videos on YouTube, I came up with this idea of building these squares out of 2x6s and running 4x4s underneath them. And we ran a 4x4 about every 12 inches, so every foot, foot and a half. And then we laid the plywood and plastic on top, and of course the angle iron. And this, we're going to pour the top on this. And this was the stressful time because you were wondering, is it going to break with all that weight of the concrete on top? I think there's like 18 tons of concrete above my head is what's actually up there. So we got all of this laid out, and you end up spending a lot of money in steel and angle iron. I mean, when you start pouring concrete, because you figure this is like a figure eight in a way, so it's like a rectangle going around, and even the wall that goes down the center has concrete in it. So that center wall is like a brace wall, is the way I did this. And both walls, both rooms are quite large. In the one room I have my computer set up, and in the other room I actually have a king size bed and a toilet, and you know some pretty amazing stuff in 2 rooms. It's quite huge. You might as well think of it as a basement with a concrete top. I guess you could look at it. And because I live in Tennessee in Tornado Alley, and we get about 200 tornadoes a year every spring, we wanted something to be safe in. So whenever they say there's warnings, all our dogs and us actually come down into as what they call the bunker. I call it a fancy tornado shelter. And yeah, I do have, 3 to 6 months of food and other things like that, just in case the house does get taken out by a tornado. Insurance companies never move all that quick. So we could actually live down here, for a short period of time while we're waiting on the insurance company if we had to. So that wouldn't be too bad. Now, these guys here I called in to do the work. I didn't do this part. A lot of it I did myself. But these guys here, I thought I'm going to call in the professionals to put the top on because I was just too scared of the top caving in or me doing something wrong. And I wanted it as smooth and as level as possible and no cracks. And it's been a couple of years since I built this now. And there's no cracks whatsoever. It never did crack. I mean, these guys knew what they were doing. So it's turned out really, really well. Is what's happened with this thing. But that was the most stressful time. And like I said, we ran 4x4s like every 12 inches, every foot and a half is what we did when they framed it. And when it was all done and poured, that's kind of how it looked right there. And stairs going down, So looked pretty good. I was a little bit worried that day because we were worried it was actually going to rain. And but it didn't. So we were okay. So it cured pretty good. It hardened pretty good. Everything was awesome. We ran a plastic type of special outside covering around the outside, and there's weeping tile that goes around the bottom that dumps out the back into a big hole. And all the way around this thing was filled with stone. There's no ground around this at all. So when it rains, or you get a lot of rain, a lot of water, it travels through that stone very quickly, which in turn hits the weeping tile. And the weeping tile it's just like a big black pipe with little holes in it that drains it out. And here you'll see one room done. I actually epoxied the floor and laid paneling up is all I did. And you'll see it here. So that's one room completed. Those are actually my quilts I use for backpacking. But yeah, and I put a sticker in the middle of the floor. So all of it turned out well. And I tried to cut this video down as much as I can. I think I've got it down to 6 minutes or so. So to make it really easy. But originally when I had my other YouTube channel, I uploaded every single detail of this. But I thought, well, let's shorten it down so give you the quick and dirty of it, and you can see it, how it was actually built and everything. And yes, I'm even recording this from my computer room because I run my business from this room. Actually, I have my 3 computers down here and stuff. This is where I work every day. So there you go. For any new subs that haven't seen this, yes, I own a bunker. Wow.